Today on Monkey Life.
Hey, little man. How's it going in there?
Staff welcome the park's first ever saki monkey.
Come on, Jethro.
Oh, there he goes. He's out.
There's concern for Houdini at the lemur enclosure.
Oh, listen to that. You can't hear Nobby's heart murmur.
And Simon's up to mischief at Hananya's. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is one of the largest sanctuaries of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
Last little leg into the forest where we're really pushing the limits here to make all of this happen, so it's a really lovely team effort.
The park provides a home for more than 240 monkeys and apes, and the aim is to give them as natural a life as possible. There are 17 species of primate at Monkey World, including chimps, orangutans, gibbons, and stump-tailed macaques. Today, Alison is taking charge of the park's first ever saki monkey.
Just off to Somerset to bring in a completely new species of monkey. So very interesting, very exciting day today.
The monkey, called Jethro, is currently living at a wildlife rescue centre near Bridgewater. But the land is being sold, so Jethro needs a new home. Alison is planning to put him in with the squirrel monkeys.
At 22 years old, Jethro is quite an elderly saki monkey. He was born into the British pet trade and then either sold or given to the couple who currently own him along with a mate. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago that the female passed away. So he's been on his own for an awful long time now. So I'm hoping that getting him back to the park and getting him in with our squirrel monkeys might sort of liven things up and make life a bit more interesting for Jethro.
White-faced saki monkeys are native to South America. Males and females look very different. Males are black with big white faces, whereas females are brown and grey. In the wild, they live in family groups and spend most of their time in the trees. They eat a diet rich in nuts, seeds, and fruit.
Morning.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Hi, nice to see you again.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm okay at the moment.
I was going to say it's going to be a long day for you. Should we just go see the guys first of all?
Right.
Maria and Colin have been desperate to find a suitable home for Jethro ever since they were told they had to leave.
Hey, little man. Hi, you. Hey, fluffy boy. Hey, little man. Oh, I know. Good boy. Wow, what a beautiful coat on him.
Yeah.
In captivity, saki monkeys only live for around 20 years, so Jethro really is an old man.
He was rejected at birth by his mother, sadly. That was 22 years ago, so I took on the role of mum. And Jethro has been with me all that time. He's full of character, always has been. You know, he's got lots of different mannerisms. He's just a great character, full of the joys of spring, despite his age.
Maria and Colin have 3 other monkeys who also need rehoming. Alison is keen to take them, but at the moment, she doesn't have a suitable enclosure.
We've got 3 spider monkeys here, 2 males and 1 female. And they're getting on in years as well, but they can't stay here. And so we have to consider whether or not we can find a place for them at the park. They need their own house, their own enclosure. Got a plan in my head, but we'll have to wait and see whether I can make it come true. It's a big if right now, but I'm hoping that I've got a good plan.
You're a beautiful little man. Good boy.
So, for the time being, Alison's focus is on Jethro, who has only ever really known life next to the spider monkeys.
I'm really pleased. He looks really nice and healthy for a 22-year-old saki monkey. He's got a little bit of a mobility issue on his back legs, but quite frankly, any old boy does at this stage in his life, so we'll just keep an eye on him. I just have to hope that the squirrel monkeys love him as much as I do already. He's a brilliant lad.
Monkey World's squirrel monkeys are going to be in for a shock when Jethro moves in. Although both species come from the tropical forests of South America, squirrel monkeys are smaller and more nimble. They live high up in the tree canopies in large social groups, whereas saki monkeys are usually found in pairs. They wouldn't necessarily meet up in the wild.
Topsy and Turvy hopefully will be okay. Hopefully they'll just see him as a new kind of playmate or someone to, you know, be of interest to them. Samantha can be a bit grumpy, so hopefully she's not having a grumpy day when he comes and turns a little bit feisty towards him or anything like that. Bridget kind of lives in his own little bubble, so hopefully it's not going to disrupt his way of life and his routine too much, so that he can kind of just get on and accept him and carry on as normal. But generally speaking, the squirrel monkeys, they're quite laid back, and hopefully they should be okay with a new arrival joining their group.
Saki monkeys live mainly on fruit, nuts and seeds, and aren't as keen on insects as the squirrel monkeys. Topsy has just spotted a red admiral.
When the squirrel monkeys are hunting for their insects, they'll kind of get right into all the trees and bushes, and they can move around on all the tiny, really thin branches, so they can kind of almost sneak up on the insects, and then they kind of pounce, and then they'll just grab them with their hands.
Topsy isn't the only one enjoying the impromptu snack. Turvy also strikes lucky.
Squirrel monkeys' hands are really good for doing things like catching insects. They're really, really dexterous, and they can move around and, yeah, grab hold of things really well.
Topsy is trying a new technique to creep up on the butterflies. Butterfingers.
Any activities like this is absolutely brilliant for the squirrel monkeys, because it obviously brings out their natural behaviour. They would be doing this in the wild. They would be going around hunting and foraging for insects, and obviously it's all enrichment for them as well, stimulates them and gets them active, and that's absolutely brilliant for them.
At the park's lemur enclosure, the ringtails are busy grooming. This is important behaviour for all primates, as it strengthens bonds and also keeps their fur in good condition. However, one lemur is sitting on the sidelines today. Houdini has been causing concern for a while now, and the park's vet, Mike Nathan, wants to take a closer look.
Over the last couple of weeks, he hasn't been breathing very well. And to my mind, he's breathing with increased effort, and his tummy seems a little bit more swollen, but also he tends to give a soft cough like that. Makes me wonder whether it's his heart that's giving him the problem rather than anything else. We want to just try and have a listen to him, conscious if I can. If not, then we'll have to take him up to the hospital. But if you look at him, you see that he's breathing with quite an effort from his abdomen. He's a different animal to what he was a couple of weeks ago.
Houdini is 16, but that isn't particularly old for a captive lemur. The team need to get him inside so that Mike can examine him.
Houdini, look, come then. Look, just like normal. Good boy. Come on then. Good boy. Mind your tail. Good boy.
Animal director Jeremy Keeling has come to help. The lemurs are a close-knit bunch, and the rest of the group gather for a ringside seat.
He's in that little crate you get there, isn't it? So I don't know whether you want to go in the shed and grab him in there.
might be.
Or otherwise we can let him into the shed, but...
I'd like to have a listen to him if we can.
Ready?
Leader Fennel wants to know what's happening to Houdini.
In here. Oh, listen to that. You can't hear an obvious heart murmur.
Sounds very nasal, that does.
Who knows?
Mike is worried about Houdini's laboured breathing. He decides he has no choice but to take him to the hospital.
Really marked upper respiratory noise. I can't hear a heart murmur. The heart's going so blooming fast. So stressed out with that bit. So we'll see. It's really, trying to get that air in. So we'll see. We'll see. All right.
The team need to act quickly. If Houdini really does have a heart problem, any amount of extra stress could have serious consequences. In Somerset, Alison is learning about saki monkey Jethro. She needs to gauge his mood to see how he's going to react to being put into a travelling crate, ready for the journey back to Monkey World.
I'd reach out and touch you, but I think that that's too soon. I think that we're not fully properly introduced yet. Yes, good boy, yeah. Get in monks there. There could be anything in there.
Maria is going to accompany Jethro back to the park to make sure he settles in.
Do you want to see if he'll just go in willingly? You and I could hold it up in the back corner there, throw a grape in and see if he'll just tootle in.
Jethro isn't used to climbing into boxes, so they're not sure how he's going to react.
Come on, boy. Then this way, look, a bit further.
It takes a group effort to persuade him.
He's in.
Very good boy. Jethro didn't walk into the box, let's put it that way. He was sort of helped and shoved and perhaps lifted into the box a bit, but there was no fussing or fighting. And now he's just checking out what the world around him, so he's very calm. Just goes to show that he's actually quite a well-adjusted little monkey, so hopefully he'll feel the same way about Fidget and the rest of the squirrel monkeys. Good little man, you are.
So, after years of living on his own, Jethro is off to new friends and a new life. At the park's hospital, ring-tailed lemur Houdini has been fully anaesthetised, and Mike is keen to get on with his examination. He wants to find out why the lemur's breathing is so laboured.
2.6. So since the beginning of June, he's lost 0.2 of a kilo, hasn't he?
There could be a number of reasons for Houdini's rough breathing, but Mike thinks he probably has a heart problem.
Throat is perfectly clear. Colour's good, he's not anemic.
He decides to do an X-ray of Houdini's chest to give him a better idea of what's going on.
Right, lights off.
Despite Mike's suspicions, the X-rays are not showing any obvious problem with Houdini's heart.
The X-ray looks okay. I can't see anything that's shouting at me saying abnormal. So this isn't full of fluid in his abdomen. It certainly doesn't feel full of fluid in his abdomen.
It's a mystery. Mike can't seem to find a cause for Houdini's laboured breathing.
I don't know. Let's take a blood.
The blood samples will be analysed to make sure that the lemur doesn't have any underlying health issues.
Well, there you go. What on earth? I'll get those bloods off and catch the post with them. I can't find anything. His heart rate and rhythm's normal. I've taken samples from swabs from his nose and from the back of his throat. The X-rays look to me to be normal. I still feel that the symptoms he's giving us with his breathing point to something wrong with his chest, his heart, but I can't prove it at all. I have to look for other things.
So that's his...
That's it for him for the minute, yeah. Okay.
Mike is going to put Houdini on another course of antibiotics to see if that helps. And the lemur team will have to keep a close eye on him to make sure his condition doesn't deteriorate. Over at Hananya's enclosure, the chimps are in a playful mood. Young alpha male Hananya is displaying to exert his authority, whilst several chimps are making the most of the bedding that's been put out for them.
Hananya's group is still a young group, so, you know, they're a fun group. They're still learning, you know, and they've had lots of new animals that have come into this group over the last couple of years. So, you know, I would describe it as a stable group, but they definitely have their fallouts. Games and things can sometimes get a bit out of control.
Simon is bored, and that often spells trouble. He has his eye on Patricia, who's decided to have some downtime. But Simon has other ideas. He tries a charm offensive to try and get Patricia to join in, but she's not interested.
Simon's definitely a playful chimp. He likes to have fun, and he really makes the most of the enclosure. I don't think there's a female in Hananya's group that Simon hasn't, you know, wound up at one point in time, so I think that goes across the board. But generally, the females like to spend time with him, you know, and he does bring out the best in a lot of the females.
Kiki is the newest member of the group. She was rescued from the Lebanon 2 years ago, where she'd been kept in a cage at the side of the road.
Kiki's doing great. What a success story. You look at her now, it's like she's always been here. You know, she really was a very clever chimp. She made some mistakes, but she learnt from them, and it's great to see her now as a fully integrated member of the group, and a far cry from the isolation that she was in prior to being rescued by Monkey World.
Simon has given up on Patricia and is now trying his luck with Cherry. But Cherry's no pushover, and Simon's bright enough to know not to mess with her.
I think it's important to remember that all chimpanzee groups will change over time, and that will be the case for Hananya's as well. But considering their age and considering how many new animals have come in, I think they've done remarkably well. You know, they're a fun group that enjoy each other's company. They like to be together. Hananya's maturing into the role. So a really nice group, but, you know, who knows what the future holds.
At the squirrel monkey enclosure, Topsy, Turvy, Fidget and Samantha are enjoying the sunshine, blissfully unaware of the impending arrival of their new housemate. It's been a long drive from Somerset, but Alison has finally arrived back with Jethro, and everyone is keen to meet him.
Hi, Jethro. Hey, little man. How's it going in there? But you're quite a good little man. I know, you are. He's totally chilled out. Let's get a weight on him in the box, and then we'll do the box thereafter.
All primates who arrive at the park are weighed if possible, so the team can check their progress as they settle in.
Who's it? Who is it?
The squirrel monkeys are curious about the new arrival.
Come on, Jethro.
No one knows how Jethro and the squirrel monkeys will react to each other.
Oh, there he goes. He's out.
Okay, there you go, Jeremy.
As soon as Jethro sees Fidget, he he goes on the offensive.
Basically, it's Jethro announcing that he's in the house and that this is now his new home. And quite frankly, the squirrels don't seem to mind that rumbling noise at all, which is quite a good thing, because if their reaction is absolutely neutral to Jethro, then we stand the best chance of Jethro and the squirrels getting on well together.
For now, Fidget and the girls are being kept in the rooms next door until they get used to each other.
Obviously, when we put them together, it could be a completely different story. But for the moment, the squirrel monkeys are just pottering around, foraging for insects, just doing what they normally do. He seems pretty chilled out and quite mellow, so I'm sure if he doesn't react to the squirrel monkeys, then they hopefully won't react to him either. For today, Jethro will just stay on his own, just to let him settle into his bedroom. If he seems pretty settled and he's moving around and eating, then maybe we'll open up tomorrow and see what they're like. But yeah, I think we'll have to see what everybody's like by the morning until we make that decision.
Next time on Monkey Life. Kai makes eyes at Oshine, but she's playing hard to get.
She wants a bit more courting, I think, in this caveman approach that Kai's got.
And Yarima's causing excitement for the woolly monkey team.
We're hoping she's pregnant, but it's not a definite, unfortunately.
This time on Monkey Life. An anxious day for the team when Hsiao-Quai takes her newly adopted daughter outside for the first time.
Can't imagine that Hsiao-Quai would reject the baby now. I just cannot see that. Look, who knows?
New boy Jethro comes face to face with the thieving squirrel monkeys.
You better get on the move, little man.
And Kai takes a shine to Oshine.
A couple of times she's turned around and given him a slap.
Monkey World in Dorset is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. Dr. Alison Cronin and the team dedicate their lives to rescuing and rehabilitating primates from all over the world.
This is always, for me, the most stressful time. I want to see Kiki fit and healthy.
The park is home to more than 240 monkeys and apes from 18 different species. Three days ago, the team at Gordon's Orang house arrived to find that Xiaolan had given birth early that morning. But Hsiao-Quai had hold of the newborn and wasn't letting go.
What are we going to do with you?
To this day, they don't know whether Xiaolan didn't want her little girl or whether Hsiao-Quai just took a fancy to her. Jeremy did try to persuade Xiaolan to take her baby back.
And try and get it up to a breast if that's a possibility.
But despite numerous attempts, she just wasn't interested. So the team decided to let Hsiao-Quai bring up the little girl. Hsiao-Quai has been shut in with the baby ever since, and today she's being let outside for the first time. She's been a brilliant mum to her own 2 children, but that doesn't mean she'll continue taking care of this adopted one. And although the baby seems healthy, it's still early days.
I personally think the first 3 days are the worst danger point. How is the baby? Is the baby, you know, showing any signs of not eating. Is the baby healthy? Can it, you know, does everything work? It's the same as you would with a, you know, human baby.
Jeremy is aware that the novelty could wear off for Hsiao-Quai. If she turns her back on this baby, it'll need to be hand-reared.
I can't imagine that Hsiao-Quai would reject the baby now. I just cannot see that. Who knows? You never know what's going to happen. But clearly her milk is sufficient and good enough quality because the baby seems fine so far. You know, there's a lot of fingers crossed, but who knows?
Hsiao-Quai still has milk because she's feeding her own 2-year-old son, Jin. Although Jin relies a lot on his mum, he's happy to explore on his own. But Hsiao-Quai is determined to keep tabs on him, despite having a newborn clinging to her.
We were lucky with Jin because he's very much a mummy's boy, but he's just at the age now where he, you know, other things are interesting. And he's got other people to go and hang out with. He's got his aunties.
One of those aunties is Ame. Since moving from the orangutan nursery, she's missed being surrounded by youngsters. It's a treat for her to entertain Jin. And she's enjoying his antics as much as he is.
He can have a life and then just come back to his mum, and he's very, very good at it. That was a big worry, and he's very tolerant of the baby.
Life's not so easy for Xiao Lan. She's still recovering from the birth, and she's having nothing to do with the baby or the other orangs.
Xiao Lan has been very low, orangs do suffer with postnatal depression, and that's just a fact, and Xiao Lan was suffering that way. And of course, mums that don't rear their babies suffer even worse than those that do.
In the wild, young orangs will stay close to their mums for at least 7 years and learn everything from them. But Xiao Lan was taken from her mum at an early age and never had that opportunity. So it wasn't entirely unexpected when she rejected her daughter.
She's getting there slowly, and today letting her out, I think, is a very important step on that ladder for Xiao Lan to have her life back, and, you know, and just treating them as normal is the culture that they understand.
It's going to take time for things to settle down, but for now, the signs are good. There's great excitement at Bueno's woolly monkey enclosure. Yarima may be pregnant. This will be great news for the park, as woolly monkeys are highly endangered due to hunting and habitat destruction.
Hey guys.
Every morning, the group are given some special cakes.
No, Yarima. It's just a mixture of oats and wheat germ, and we put their supplements in it. They get cod liver oil and they get evening primrose oil. Both them supplements can help with their hair and their nails. It also contains omega-3 oils, which is good to actually lower cholesterol and help with hypertension. And woolly monkeys are known to get high blood pressure, so that's really useful for these guys.
Woolly monkeys can suffer from stress, which can be fatal, particularly for expectant mothers. So they're taking special care of Yarima.
Yarima gets something extra added into it, and that's actually a mother-to-be vitamin supplement.
At this stage, it's difficult to prove she's pregnant.
So we've actually had to just calculate from when we've seen her mating, and also because she started to gain a little bit of weight, so we're hoping she's pregnant, but it's not a definite, unfortunately.
Bueno is the only breeding male in this group, and this will be his 4th child if Yarima is pregnant. He's proving very popular, and the team are hoping he'll also get together with Sarah. Before she came to the park, Sarah was the last female woolly monkey in North America. She was brought in under the European Endangered Species breeding program, so a mate could be found for her. She's already taken quite a shine to Bueno, so there are good prospects for a future family. The team are hopeful Sarah will take to motherhood as well as Yarima has.
Her oldest is Zingu, who lives now down with Oski's group. And then this is her youngest, Enzo, who's just 18 months old now, and she's a really good mum. She always has been, so she knows exactly what she's doing and how to look after babies.
Yarima can relax whilst Enzo has fun and games with 5-year-old Paolo. Though he still needs lots of reassurance from his mum, he's well up for a bit of bonding with the boys, and he's spending more and more time away from her. For now, they're quite happy to entertain each other and give Yarima a break. At the hospital, specialist wildlife vet John Lewis and the parks vet Mike Nathan are carrying out health checks on 4 marmosets recently brought to the park.
Every year, Monkey World gets asked to rehome and to take on so many common marmosets from the legal UK pet trade that it's just an overwhelming problem.
4 weeks ago, Alison and Jeremy were called in by the RSPCA and West Midlands Police to help rescue Lucky, Gizmo, Bubble and Squeak from a house in Stourbridge. The owner had been prosecuted for cruelty. Monkey World can only rescue a fraction of the mistreated marmosets in the UK. There just isn't space for them. They don't want any more babies, so Bubble and Gizmo are getting vasectomies today.
Birth control for all of these ragtag marmosets is absolutely essential because the last thing we want to do is add to the problem by breeding our own.
It's a simple but very precise operation. Bubble is first.
So you do it by feel more than anything. Okay.
In such a tiny animal, John is looking for tubes just 1 millimetre wide. Not an easy task.
Bam.
He's mistakenly caught a vein, just enough to make it bleed.
When you're looking for very small structures, a minute hemorrhage, just a spot of blood, obstructs your visual field. It's not a problem for the animal, it's a nuisance for the surgeon. Don't move the animal. There we go. Oh, that's a joke getting...
A specimen will be sent off to the lab to make sure that a section of the right tube has been removed. The X-rays will show any signs of rickets, a bone deficiency caused by lack of sunlight. It's a common problem in captive marmosets.
Not bad, straighten out.
Bubble gets the all clear. Now it's Gizmo's turn. He too gets a thorough health check.
Yeah, he's got body fat on him as well.
Like all primates at the park, Gizmo is fitted with a microchip.
Happy with that?
Yeah. He's also clear of rickets. The boys are in pretty good shape, so that's 2 checks done, 2 more to go. Since arriving from Somerset, Saki monkey Jethro has been living in the squirrel monkey house. His lively neighbours are getting used to the odd-looking newcomer.
Hi, Fitch.
And today, they'll all come face to face without the mesh between them. Jethro was brought to Monkey World when his owners could no longer keep him.
When any animal arrives, then we'll watch them for a good length of time to get to know them, what they like, what they don't like, and also how they move around as well.
Jethro's not so active. At 22 years old, he's an old man and showing signs of stiffness in his limbs, so they need to make some changes to the adjoining room before he goes in.
The squirrel monkeys are pretty able, but just by watching Jethro, he seems to struggle a little bit more, especially with his back legs. So yeah, we're just adding a few more bits in for him.
Yeah.
The introduction is being done inside, so the team can carefully monitor the first meeting.
In an opinion, I'd be inclined just to open the inner slides to begin with so that they don't come around and catch them out from behind at first. Oh, there you go. Fantastic. They're just running back and forth past him. The squirrel monkeys are being very respectful of Jethro's sort of space, so they're trying to go around him, but they are going in and out of that door. Nobody's going to stop them. I reckon it's going to be only a matter of time before they're interested in having a look at his fur or he's interested in having a look and touching them.
Good lad.
Jethro cautiously ventures out of his own bedroom.
Well done.
That's very cool.
And cheeky Samantha's straight into his basket. But when she heads for his food, that's a step too far.
Yeah, you better get on the move, little man.
It's going to be no food left in the net.
He's shown little interest in eating since he arrived, but there's only one way to stop the girls getting his food.
He's had lots of food around him and he's just kind of picked it as and when. But now suddenly the squirrel monkeys have come in and they're sort of raiding his food bowls. And now he's suddenly really hungry and he's eating everything from his bowl.
Topsy decides the new boy's too big to annoy. And Fidget's keeping a low profile. He's minding his own business and ignoring the newcomer.
An uneventful introduction is really the best we could have asked for, and they can get to know each other slowly, and hopefully we'll spend the rest of today together, and if all's good, we can leave it overnight and that's it done. It's just really nice that Jethro has some other primates that he's living with now, so really pleased so far.
At the park's hospital, health checks on the recently rescued marmosets continue. It's the turn of the two females.
Female marmoset who feels pregnant.
I think she's pregnant.
Because they've been living with the two boys, Alison and Jeremy are convinced they must have mated. John will need to handle them carefully.
If she was very late pregnant, about to give birth, I wouldn't want to grab her and stress her to that extent. That could cause a premature birth.
Squeak seems to be in good health, but are Alison and Jeremy right? Is she pregnant? An X-ray should reveal all. The moment of truth.
Nothing obvious.
I don't think there are any babies in there.
I can't see anything.
Dead sharp.
Against all odds, Squeak doesn't seem to be carrying any babies. Everyone's thankful.
We're relieved in a way that we don't think she's pregnant because we don't really need any more marmosets, so we want the space free to be able to rescue any more. So yeah, in that sense we're relieved, so that's really good.
Last up is Lucky. She also has a complete health check.
Okay, she can go for X-ray, Mike.
No, that's good. You can wake her up.
And it looks like Lucky has escaped pregnancy as well. The girls will go back to living with Bubble and Gizmo, but with their vasectomies done, there'll be no chance of pregnancies in the future. At the Orang nursery, newcomer Kai is settling in well. He's now 7 years old and maturing. He moved over from Gordon's group 2 weeks ago. He's gradually been meeting his new housemates and has found a new friend in Xiao Ning. After a shaky start, he's been accepted by the mischievous duo Linga and Dinda. It's now time for him to meet the rest of the nursery gang. Playful Jolie, big girl Oshine, and baby Sylvester.
Kai's super, he's really in his element, they're all happy. Obviously Jolie's got to go in yet, but she's already been feeding Kai through the mesh with carrots and stuff. Then we're going to let Jolie have access to the tribe now, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, open the door and let Oshine and Sylvester in.
These introductions are likely to be more challenging, as Oshine isn't known for her warm welcomes.
Right, you ready?
Jolie and Kai waste no time in getting acquainted. The team are so pleased with the way this meeting is going that they decide to get straight on with the introduction to Oshine and Sylvester, who are waiting in the playroom, unaware of what's about to happen. Curious Kai heads straight for her, completely bypassing Sylvester. Kai is intrigued by Oshine, but can't understand why she doesn't want him anywhere near her.
Kai is obviously more mature than he looks. This is obviously an adult female, and he's actually acting more like an adult male, to be honest with you.
Oshine is very wary of him. This pushy youngster has come as quite a shock. The more she runs away from him, the more he's determined to make friends, whether Oshine likes it or not. Jeremy's chaperoning Kai just to make sure things don't get out of hand.
She's clearly not ready for this. She gives him a couple of slaps, that might slow him down a bit. She wants a bit more courting, I think, in this caveman approach that Kai's got.
Jolie comes to the rescue and distracts Kai. Oshine is worn out by it all. She's usually the one who rules the roost, but now she's feeling pretty insecure. She's keeping Sylvester close by for reassurance and hoping Kai will leave her alone. But no chance. He's not giving up.
In general, she's not really a touchy-feely sort of person. And, you know, Kai being very interested in her wants contact, and she doesn't. A couple of times she's turned around and given him a slap. That will establish the place where he's got to be, because she does that a couple more times, and hopefully he'll realise that playing with the little ones is going to be more fun than this grumpy old, although fascinating, morphic blob that's all of a sudden in his space. I think everybody except for Oshine thinks he's great, and they just want to play with him and hang out with him. And you know, he is actually playing nicely. He's not got any favouritism happening, and he's not being too rough, and he's actually being very, very considerate.
It's going to take time for Oshine to get used to Kai being around. But one thing's for certain, the nursery is going to be a livelier place from now on. Next time on Monkey Life. Alison responds to an urgent call from the RSPCA.
Today's an emergency situation, and we just have to hope that everything's going to be okay for the monkey that we haven't even seen or met yet.
And will Kai be able to cope without his mum?
He's got all these young ladies to play with and all the, you know, it's a nice place to be.
Today on Monkey Life, Alison responds to an urgent call from the RSPCA.
Today's an emergency situation, and we just have to hope that everything's going to be okay for the monkey that we haven't even seen or met yet.
Will Kai be able to handle life without his mum?
I'm hoping it will be all positive and he won't get upset.
And Gibbon Fox gets some very special attention.
Good boy.
Monkey World, nestled deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate neglected and abused primates from all over the world.
They're all going to have a chance to live proper lives again. Perfect.
The park provides a home for more than 240 monkeys and apes, and the aim is to give them as natural a life as possible. Alison and her team are often called in to rescue primates from appalling conditions. Like Arthur, the capuchin monkey found in an emaciated condition in a back garden in Somerset.
Oh, dear. No hair.
Oh, dear.
Sometimes, members of the public will contact them, but they also work with the police and animal welfare groups. They carry out their own undercover investigations, such as this one in Turkey with Chardy.
That poor chimp, you know, has had its family killed in Africa, had its teeth knocked out, gets shoved in hot clothing to get dragged around these beaches for tourists to take photographs with. I just, you know, it's just desperate.
An urgent call has come in from the RSPCA. They found a squirrel monkey living in a cage on its own on an industrial estate near London. They need Alison's help to confiscate and rehome it.
Report came in last evening that there was a monkey in a small cage that looked very poorly, and people were concerned about it. This morning, the RSPCA inspector has gone out to the industrial estate and indeed found what she believes is a squirrel monkey at the back of some offices, effectively in the dark, in a cage, all by itself. So today's an emergency situation, and we just have to hope that everything's going to be okay for the monkey that we haven't even seen or met yet. Yep, there she is. Let's do it.
When they arrive, the monkey has already been taken out of the building and he's in a birdcage inside the RSPCA van. Charlie has been living in this unheated office for the last 2 months. There are no laws to stop anyone keeping a pet squirrel monkey so long as it's in a suitable environment. Although Charlie has been removed, his owner could get another one in the future. Alison makes sure that he's aware of what he's been doing wrong.
Now, the only thing I'd say to you is that if you're considering keeping a primate as a pet, then the things you're going to need to do in this country to keep from having the law on your back or RSPCA coming after you, or even us coming after you, are having a companion and also indoor-outdoor. And this is just word of advice to you because you seem like a reasonable gentleman. This type of cage offers the monkey nowhere to shelter to get away from. There's no natural aspect to that. They should be living in an indoor-outdoor accommodation. They should be able to get out into the fresh air and have fresh air on their face, wind through their coat.
And it's vital that they get the right nutrition.
I didn't look on your diet sheet yet, but I can't see any vitamin supplements here for the monkey to just be kept indoors. If the monkey is being kept solely indoors, it is quite important, especially for a young individual whose bones are fusing, to actually get the appropriate vitamins in their diet so that they don't get rickets.
Okay.
There's nothing in here.
I didn't think I was doing anything wrong, but however, they seem to have an opinion that I do.
Alison's keen to get a good look at young Charlie, waiting inside the RSPCA van.
Hey, little man. Are you a good boy? Because this just goes up and down. Yep.
She thinks he's still quite young.
He looks in pretty good condition. We'll see what he's like when we get back to the park. But just want to make sure that these doors are secure and all's ready to go. But yeah, he seems all right. Good little man. What you doing? Hey, little boy.
Charlie will travel back to Monkey World in Alison's car.
We'll just see how this pans out in the end. Once again, I don't know that this gentleman actually meant any ill will to the monkey, but the breeders and dealers who are selling these monkeys just really aren't caring for their welfare at the time being. So we'll just have to wait and see how this pans out. But most important, let's get Charlie sorted.
Charlie's been through a lot, and now he's got a 2-hour journey back to the park. But he's looking bright enough, and his whole life is about to change for the better. Another pair who arrived at the centre following an RSPCA investigation are cotton-top tamarinds Alice and Uncas. They were discovered in 2008 when police and RSPCA inspectors raided a puppy farm in Kent. These two were living in terrible conditions and, like Charlie, brought to the park for a new beginning. Although they had been sold as a breeding pair, they think Alice was already an old lady and unlikely to have babies. Uncas is younger, but despite the age difference, they're devoted to each other.
They spend a lot of time together, grooming and sitting in the basket, so they seem to really enjoy each other's company, and they've obviously been together for quite a long time, so they've got to know each other well. So yeah, they do make a very good pair.
In the wild, cotton-top tamarinds live in social groups of up to a dozen members. Their diet is made up of fruit, insects and tree sap. They can only be found in a small corner of northwest Colombia, but even there, their numbers are declining rapidly. It's thought there are only about 6,000 left, so they're critically endangered. Today, Alice and Uncas are about to get a rather wriggly snack.
So I'm just scattering these bugs around the bedroom for the tamarins, just so that when they come in, they have to look for them, so they're not just in one place.
But elderly Alice can't move around so easily these days, and Donna has to make sure they're within her reach.
Just placing some of them strategically in places that I know that Alice will go to, otherwise Uncas will just eat all of them and Alice won't get any. So yeah, just trying to move them around the enclosure.
Uncas soon gets to grips with them. But Alice is catching on fast. She's got her own technique for tackling this tasty snack that fights back.
Bugs clearly don't like being eaten, which is why they bite, but the tamarins know that, so they bite off the head first before they get bitten. Yeah, but it is a really good treat for them and they seem to love it.
They try to encourage them to hunt for the bugs like they would in the wild, but it can be a struggle for elderly Alice. Although the bugs are hand-delivered here, they still have to search for them.
Alice does have a little bit of difficulty because she only has a few teeth left, so she doesn't have the teeth to bite off the head. So she tends to kind of like put it in her mouth and just pull it, like gum it, which we've seen with some of our other older primates as well. So slightly different technique, but she gets the same end result, so it works for her.
Not all treats come in the form of food. At the gibbon house, Mueller's gibbon fox is about to get some very special attention. Mueller's gibbons are an endangered species and the only gibbon endemic to the island of Borneo.
Good boy, come here. Hand. Good boy. We try and oil Fox every day, basically because he's quite prone to having dry hands and feet. He does get a few calluses as well, so yeah, we try and do it daily just to keep him nice and soft and supple.
Everyone gets a bit of rough skin now and then, but it's even worse for primates like Fox. He originates from steamy tropical forests.
He needs a bit of humidity to keep his skin nice and supple and in good condition, so here obviously we have to just help him out a little bit because the climate is quite dry.
Fox came to the park from Taiwan in 2000, yet another victim of the illegal pet trade.
Good. Good boy.
Because he was used to living alongside people and likes a bit of TLC, he's been easily trained to cooperate when he needs treatment.
With the likes of Fox, who have come from quite a humanised background, he's very used to human contact. So for that reason, because he does seek out, a little bit of grooming time, for example, offering his arm out or his foot, for example, we have taken advantage of that.
Fox. And good boy.
Massage complete, Fox puts those pampered hands and feet to good use. And he's full of energy after this special treatment.
Fox is a big show-off. He loves human attention, so he does obviously display quite a lot, bounces and obviously vocalises quite a lot as well.
At the orangutan nursery, young Kai has settled in well. He had to move out of Gordon's group 2 weeks ago because he was becoming too mature to live with another adult male. All the young girls love him. But there's one rather large lady who's been left on the sidelines. Oshine has gone from Kai's centre of attraction to being largely ignored, and she's a bit put out about it. When Kai first moved in, he just couldn't leave her alone, but she was a bit frightened by his behaviour.
He changed his approach to her then and went in with a much softer approach, and that's what made the breakthrough. I think she was wondering why he wasn't paying attention to her and looking at him from across the room, wondering what he was doing.
Oshine has gradually gained confidence, and now she's happy to have Kai around. He's become the darling of the nursery group, but today could be a tough one for him. He's going to be allowed into the outside enclosure, and it's right next door to his old group. He'll be able to see his mum's Hsiao-Quai with the rest of his family, all getting on with their lives. Jarno's making sure there are no weak points in the enclosure, just in case Kai tries to make it back to his old family.
It's what his reaction might be when he sees his mum. I'm hoping it will be all positive and he won't get upset. But you don't know, sometimes they do, so we're looking out for that and a little bit worried.
Right, come on guys.
As soon as the door is opened, Xiaoning leads the gang out, with Kai hot on her heels. But he's overtaken in the tunnel by Linga when he realises he's about to enter unfamiliar territory. The usually happy-go-lucky Kai is now not so sure of himself. He's checking out his new space very tentatively. Maybe it'll all look safer from up high. It doesn't take him long to spot the neighbours.
He's had a look, Hsiao-Quai's outside, she's over the road, and he's had a couple of glances over there.
From his vantage point, Kai can get a good look at his mum and old friends next door. But is he upset that he's no longer living with them?
To be honest, he doesn't mind. He's having a whale of a time with the girls outside, so I don't think he's bothered that he's not with mum anymore.
Oshine eventually comes out to see what's going on, and as usual, she's got baby Sylvester in tow. She's watching Kai up on the climbing frame.
She actually seems more relaxed than she was inside, which actually surprises me. I think maybe the extra space is helping. But the biggest indication to us is that she's let Sylvester go. Sylvester's going off and doing a bit of exploring as well, so usually that would show us that she's not needing the security of him quite as much. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy she feels better and she's happy Kai's there.
Kai's in seventh heaven, dividing his attention between all the ladies in his life. He's not looked back since he joined the nursery group. And he's a hit with everyone. It's well into the afternoon when Charlie the squirrel monkey arrives at Monkey World. Jeremy and the team immediately get him settled into a temporary home. Right now, there aren't enough bedrooms in the squirrel monkey house, and he needs to be assessed before he moves in with the others.
Write that down. 853.
With his weight checked, they'll be able to monitor his progress when they get him on a proper diet. The neighbours are fascinated by the new arrival.
What's his name?
Charlie. I've zip-tied both of those, so...
Charlie is curious about his new surroundings.
Yeah. Come on, little man.
Now that he has space to move around, the team can check out if he has any mobility problems.
Good jump.
And so far, he's doing okay.
Moving around really well, he's had a big drink, and he's tucking into all the food that we've put in as well. So far he looks really good.
Oh, happy man, food in both hands. Good little man. Oh.
Insects should form the main part of a squirrel monkey's diet, but no one knows what young Charlie's been given. But he's really enjoying them, and he's making a new friend in Donna.
Good boy.
We know that he likes mealworms already, which we do have, but our squirrel monkeys are a fan of waxworms and locusts and all sorts of different insects, so it seems like Charlie is too, so that's good.
He's had a long day, but he doesn't seem daunted.
Charlie's in the marmoset house, settled down, eating quite a bit of food and seems quite chirpy and happy and looks pretty good. Little bend in the bottom of his tail, maybe. Reasonable way, leaping from branch to branch, he sort of is finding his balance, so I'm not sure that he's had much experience being able to leap properly like a normal squirrel monkey would, but that'll all come, and he seems fine, so leave him for tonight, and then tomorrow we'll have a look at his feces to make sure he doesn't have any parasites, and then start making decisions about getting him over to our squirrel monkeys if we think he's fit and healthy.
At just 2 years old, Charlie should hopefully be young enough to get over his past and start a whole new life with the other squirrel monkeys. There's repair work happening at the Bachelor's Chimp enclosure. The builders had to be called into their playroom when staff noticed Sammy had managed to prise a piece of concrete out of the wall. The group is having to spend more time outside until the work's finished.
Well, obviously you've got 15 adult male chimps in this group, you know, they're really strong. If they find something and they find a weakness, they will tend to focus on that. And this is an old building, you know, it's done really well housing them for many years. But once there's a weakness there and the chimps have found it, then, you know, we can't risk that. So we're going to need to get them out, get the workmen in, assess what's going on and do what renovations are necessary in that front playroom that the boys have access to.
They're doing everything they can to keep stress levels down whilst all the building work is going on.
We've given the Bachelor Boys lots of extra bedding and blankets. We have played around with our feeding schedule, so we've upped the amount of food that we're giving them and also the frequency with which we're offering those food items. So just making sure that there's plenty of food around, there's plenty of activities, you know, our enrichment's been increased as well. So lots of bedding, lots of blankets, lots of enrichment and plenty to eat.
Fat Sammy is making the most of the new feeding regime. He loves his food. The team had been trying to get weight off him, but at the moment, that's impossible.
Sammy's always been an animal that's liked his food and that's carried some extra weights and there's some health concerns that go along with that. So we've done a good job last year of getting some weight off him, but obviously we've had to up the diet now just to compensate for, you know, the skinnier boys and making sure they're getting enough. Sammy's, of course, capitalising on that. Whenever you restrict access for a group of animals, then the hierarchy, I guess, is going to be exaggerated, so that those animals that are at the bottom of the pecking order, like, you know, Paquito, Seamus, they are going to struggle a bit, and we've seen that in particular with Turkish Charlie.
Charlie was rescued from Turkey, where he'd been trained to do tricks for his own TV programme. The effects have been long-lasting.
We've seen an increase in Charlie's stereotypical behaviours. He's not moving well, he's not shifting with the group, his appetite seems to have decreased. We're worrying about, you know, how much he's eating and how much he's getting involved in group activities. So all of those indicators are telling us that he's not as happy as he could be and he should be. And he probably won't be until he gets that playroom back, but there's things that we can do in the meantime. So we've put him on some medication and we're keeping a close eye on him, and already we've seen an improvement. So fingers crossed it's taking it each day as it comes and just riding this period out.
For the leaders of the group, including Butch and Paco, life goes on pretty much as usual. Whatever they want, they get, and they are keeping their place on top. Next time on Monkey Life. A new sister for woolly monkey Enzo.
We had no idea it was going to be last night, so obviously we're very excited this morning.
And squirrel monkey Charlie meets his new family.
It's pretty calm and relaxed, so I'm very hopeful that actually this is going to work out.
This time on Monkey Life. A new sister for woolly monkey Enzo.
We had no idea it was going to be last night, so obviously we're very excited this morning.
Squirrel monkey Charlie meets his new family.
I'm very hopeful that actually this is going to work out.
And the marmosets are full of surprises.
Very exciting, a little bit unexpected, but very happy at the same time.
Monkey World in Dorset is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
Have you packed your stuff? Got your favourite comics and everything?
The park is home to more than 240 monkeys and apes from 18 different species. There's great news at Bueno's woolly monkey enclosure. Overnight, Yarima has given birth to a baby daughter. The staff saw her mating with Bueno 7 months ago and felt sure the birth wasn't too far away.
We had no idea it was going to be last night, so obviously we're very excited this morning that, yep, baby's fine.
Despite the excitement, it's important to keep up the usual routine of a healthy fruit and veg breakfast. Proud Dad Bueno leads the group out, closely followed by Yarima with her baby clinging on.
Come on then, Yarima! Come on then, gorgeous!
She's a confident mum and happy to show off her newborn whilst she gets her treats. Woolly monkeys are difficult to breed in captivity and their numbers are decreasing. They're extremely rare, but Yarima's proved to be a natural mum.
This is her 4th baby and she's reared every single one of them absolutely perfectly. So we don't really have any concerns about the fact that she's gonna have any problems with this one. We think she'd be brilliant.
But it's early days and the team are carefully monitoring the baby's progress.
What we're really looking out for now with this new baby is to make sure that it's suckling. We can either just listen out for it because you can hear them suckling, also just being able to see them in the right position as well.
Yarima's baby will one day use her incredibly strong tail like a 5th limb.
The minute it's still hanging down quite a lot, but in the next few days it will start to coil and then it'll be really strong and have a really good grip.
Unlike some other primates, Dad's going to get off lightly. Bueno's busy eating while Mum does all the work.
She will carry it completely and obviously she'll do all the feeding. He's not very child-orientated, is Bueno. We've got other dominant males here at the park that spend a lot more time with the youngsters than he does. He just seems to like his own space.
Enzo's had a bit of a shock. He's just 2, and he's always had all his mum's attention. But now he'll have to share with her baby.
He's doing really well. He's not at all upset by the new baby. In fact, he seems to have brought him out of himself a bit more. He's going up to the baby every now and again, sniffing it. He's been grooming the baby.
Enzo's desperate not to be left out of this family group, but a less experienced mum might have pushed him away. Yarima's quite happy to let him investigate his baby sister and be close to her. And young Enzo's still got 5-year-old Paolo to have fun with.
He's got a great playmate and they do spend time doing roly-polies and basically causing havoc all over the place.
Monkey World has been extremely successful in breeding woolly monkeys. There have been 14 births at the park.
The more woolly monkeys, the better, is my theory. We have 19 now, and I think that's the most we've ever had in the park, and it's just brilliant.
That's the largest number of captive woolly monkeys outside South America. Yarima's had a busy few hours. Now she can rest and sunbathe with Enzo snuggled up to mum and baby sis.
So I got the craziest phone call from Jeremy this morning. Come on into the park, we have 5 new arrivals. Can you believe it, 5 new arrivals? I knew we were expecting at least 1, but not 5.
Space is tight at the park, and apart from endangered species, it's usually kept for rescued animals. But overnight, 4 new baby marmosets have been born.
Lucky, do you want a worm? Good girl. Bit of a surprise this morning. We didn't think that they were due quite yet, but we came in this morning and both have given birth. So yeah, it's very exciting, a little bit unexpected, but very happy at the same time. Good girl, well done.
Lucky and Squeak were given thorough health checks 7 weeks ago, soon after they arrived at the park. But there was no sign that either marmoset was pregnant.
We didn't have any idea, really, that Lucky was pregnant at all. She wasn't big in size. The vets didn't see anything on her health check. The fact that both of them have given birth on the same day is really quite a surprise to us.
Marmosets are pregnant for 5 months, so Squeak and Lucky must have been expecting when they came to the park. Female marmosets usually give birth to twins and manage to rear both infants. This morning, both Lucky's babies were clinging to her partner Gizmo. But it was a different story for Squeak. One of hers was missing.
We managed to shut her off into a bedroom and check all the baskets, found the basket that she actually gave birth in, and found that there was actually a small dead baby in the bottom of the blanket.
Squeak seems well enough, and she's giving all her attention to her surviving baby. But they'll need to keep a careful eye on her.
Next few days that we have to make sure that they're getting enough milk and the parents are looking after them properly. So yeah, it'll probably be a week or 2 before we're not worried about them anymore.
Not far from the baby marmosets, the squirrel monkeys are also about to get a new arrival. 2-year-old Charlie was removed from his previous owner following an RSPCA investigation.
Charlie's been here for a couple of days now and he's settled really nicely. He's eating well. He was perhaps a little bit underweight, but not too bad. But everything seems to be doing fine. His fecal tests have come back clear, so that means he seemingly doesn't have any parasites or bacteria. And we're gonna move him down to the squirrel monkeys today. If there's lots of freaking out and upset, we'll hold off for a few minutes until things settle down. But otherwise, we'll get straight on and just open up the doors and see how we go. So fingers crossed, it would be really nice if everybody got on well together.
Charlie's released into the end bedroom, but Fidget and the 3 girls soon realise something's up. Fidget's an old man. He joined this group of dominant females 2 years ago after living as a pet for 20 years and found his place here as the quiet one. When rescued, Charlie was living on his own too, confined to a small birdcage in an office. They don't know if he's ever lived with other monkeys before, so it could be daunting for him to join an established social group. Charlie's curious, but wary of his new neighbours. Fidget doesn't seem worried by him. He's tucking into his breakfast. But Charlie's keeping his distance up on the ledge whilst he checks out his surroundings. Everyone's staying calm, so it's time for the next stage, opening up the slides that separate Charlie from the others. Confident Topsy's straight in. No one's keeping her out of her space. Charlie stays out of the way. He looks on nervously as Turvy, Samantha, and even Fidget hurtle in and out, checking out their territory. They don't seem to mean him any harm, so Jenny opens up the slides to the outside tunnels to give them all more room. Samantha is first out, closely followed by Turvy. Whilst they dash about, Fidget's happy to take it easy outside.
The network of tunnels inside of the house, as well as this network of tunnels outside of the house, really allow them to have more area where they can get out of each other's sight, and that's critical right now, because if we just shut them into a small area where they had to confront each other, the result might be very different. But as it is, as soon as tension starts to build up, they can move away, and you can see Fidget's out here right now looking around, but it's pretty calm and relaxed, so I'm very hopeful that actually this is going to work out.
New boy Charlie eventually plucks up enough courage to leave his bedroom and venture next door. He's very cautious, but finally makes it outdoors. He doesn't know he's being watched. Fidget and Turvy are curious about the newcomer and warily follow him out. The team don't know what experiences Charlie has had before. He seems mesmerised by the outside world.
It's really early days. They've only all been together for about an hour now. The initial introductions with Charlie, Fidget and the three ladies have gone really well, better than we could have expected.
It's looking good, so long as Charlie doesn't bother old man Fidget.
We're hopeful that Charlie is young enough, he's fully mature, but young enough that he might not feel power and authority yet, and that maybe the two males will exist together in very different roles.
It'll be up to the females to decide what young Charlie's social status will be. If he can impress the ladies, he may take a lead role in the group.
The critical period is probably going to be in a couple of weeks' time, when the ladies start deciding whether they actually like Charlie and whether they want him to be the leader of their group or not. Hopefully this is the start of a good future for the group of squirrel monkeys with Charlie added in.
On a day like this, you'd think everyone would want to stay snuggled up indoors. And at Paddy's enclosure, some of the sensible girls are doing just that. But the more confident chimps are coming out to play in the puddles. Mickey wants to be part of the gang, but he's not so keen on getting wet. Zoe's getting on a bit, but she doesn't mind the rain. But young Eddie just grabs some of the scattered food and runs back into the warm with it. She never stays in one place for long. Kid brother Bart is under the blanket with Mum Susie.
Buster really likes the rain. He'll be happy to come out on his own and kind of get a little bit puffed up and kind of do a half little display, even if no one's there. Just a little bit of fun for him, really, just to crash around and slide around in the grass.
Buster teams up with his good mate Mickey. They've been friends since they arrived at the park over 20 years ago. The rain's not stopping young Bart from getting a game of blanket tag going with Gamba. Alpha male Paddy doesn't want to be left out. But when he turns up, Gamba's off. He won't stay around the big boss. Paddy will put up with anything from his young boy Bart.
He's big, he's strong, he's really fair with all the females and males. So he's really, really popular. He's an excellent one to learn from.
Young Bart is 5 years old, and he's just managing to hang on to the white tuft of hair on his bottom, a sign to the others of his baby status. It's a license to do whatever he wants.
None of the kind of higher-ranking females, for example, would want to be the first one to really discipline him properly, just in case Paddy didn't take this well, didn't agree, and then in turn they'd get disciplined.
Very soon, Bart will have to find his own place in the 20-strong group. But for now, he's loving his white tuft status. There are more changes over at the Squirrel Monkey house. Because Charlie's now in with Fidget and the girls, Saki monkey Jethro has had to be moved. He's about to meet some new housemates.
In the wild, cotton tops and white-faced saki monkeys wouldn't actually share the same habitat. But, you know, we have to make allowances for new arrivals coming to the park, and really, we want to have a go with putting Jethro in with Uncas and Alice. Fingers crossed they will accept each other and everything will be okay.
Jeremy opens up the slides between the two bedrooms. Uncas and Alice are intrigued by the stranger, and they're used to having the house to themselves. They need to get a good look at this newcomer and make sure he's no threat to them. They sit on the sidelines and watch. But they've always been confident, and it's not long before curiosity gets the better of them. Jethro is 3 times their size, but whilst Uncas treads warily, the old lady wades straight on in. Cottontops Alice and Uncas are a devoted pair. Alice was already getting on in years when they were rescued from the pet trade, and she's beginning to look her age. Her poor eyesight could explain her seemingly fearless behaviour as she ventures into Jethro's domain. Always protective, Uncas jumps in front before she gets too close to the Saki giant. He's not yet sure about this new guy.
Cotton-top tamarins are known for being very feisty and quite aggressive. So, you know, we tried in the past to put some of our common marmosets in with the cotton-tops, and it just was clear from the get-go that it really wasn't going to work. The cotton-tops were fierce, were going to move around and displace the marmosets and even jump on them and have a go. He's so much bigger and doesn't seem to care that to leap on him and have a go would be a very brave and actually stupid move.
They're holding back for now, but Jethro's taking it all in his stride. He's keeping himself to himself and posing no threat to them. It's certainly more peaceful here than with the squirrel monkeys. He's an old chap, and this could be a good retirement home for him. It could also help the cottontops.
I'm looking to the future. Alice is a very old lady, and I don't know how long she's going to be with us. And when she goes, that means that Uncas is going to be on his own. Jethro is never going to be Uncas's best mate necessarily, but they might form some kind of relationship. So for the long term, I think it's a pretty good plan, and they seem to be approving, so all good.
Back at the Marmoset house, the team are checking new mums Lucky and Squeak and their babies every hour. Emily's putting food out and doing everything she can to keep the babies safe.
I'm just going to put this on the floor, just because of our new marmoset babies. When the parents have them, they do swap them between mum and dad. And so because we're not sure whether these guys have done this before or not, we're not sure how well they're going to be at doing the whole swap over thing.
In Marmoset society, dads are hands-on. They usually carry the infants around, handing them back to mum when they need feeding. Lucky and Gizmo seem to have got the hang of it, passing the twins regularly between them. However, with Bubble and Squeak, things are different.
We've not seen Bubble so far carrying the baby at all. Squeak seems quite protective.
It could be because she's lost one of her twins that Squeak is being over-anxious towards this little one and not letting Bubble help. She'd also had babies before she was rescued, and they know one of her infants was taken away and sold on in the pet trade. There are risks in the handover.
Oh, swapping. See, that's what we didn't want to happen. Have you got it, Giz? Good lad. Lucky didn't have proper grip of the baby, I think, before Gizmo let go, so the baby did drop down only a little way. As soon as that happened, though, Gizmo raced straight over to the baby. Anna's picked it up, and the baby's gone back onto him now and is clinging on tight, so all seems to be okay. Obviously, this could be the first time for both of them, so it's a learning experience for them. A little bit nervous for a short while there.
Lucky seems to be living up to her name. Hopefully, with a bit more practice, they'll get it perfect. Over at the Orang nursery, young Kai is getting on famously with his new housemates. He recently moved over from Gordon's group, and he's really livened things up. Apart from baby Sylvester, he's now the only male in a house full of ladies, and he's been getting a little too friendly with some of them. Dinda loves playing with him, but when he starts to get amorous, she's having none of it, and the team don't want any surprise pregnancies.
I'm preparing the contraceptive pills for the girls in the nursery group, orangutans. I don't think they would particularly like to be handed a pill, but sometimes small tablets can be sort of tucked at the side of the mouth or spat out quickly.
The pills dissolve in the orange juice.
At least we know that they've swallowed the juice if it's mixed with that, and it tastes nice.
Most of the girls are still very young themselves, and Dinda and Xiaoning are closely related to Kai.
Being brother and sister, we don't want any pregnancies between those two animals. Good girl, Linga. Oi.
Since he arrived, Kai's been a huge hit with everyone. He's even won Oshine round. Although Oshine's an adult, she's been in the nursery since she was rehomed in 2010. The team wanted her to settle quickly, make friends of her own kind, and lose a lot of weight, so the active nursery group was an ideal choice.
She's still on a restricted diet, so we like to give her breakfast alone. She does share feeds during the day with the group, but also she has a contraceptive implant already implanted, so she doesn't need to have the contraceptive pill that the other guys have.
Oshine happily fostered baby Sylvester, and they've been inseparable ever since.
I mean, one day we might like Oshine to get pregnant. I think she would probably make a very good mum, certainly what she showed us with her relationship with Sylvester. But at the moment, she's still overweight, and we wouldn't want that to endanger her health.
Pills taken, the doors open to the tunnel. And Xiaoning, Jolie and Kai rush in for their treat. It's a bit of a squeeze, but Kai feels completely at home now.
We like to have a routine purely because we want to get them used to being into confined spaces if we ever needed to separate them for a purpose of anaesthetic, or just to make sure that they're not more stressed being in the environment on their own. If they do something a little bit every day, then they're much more acclimatised to it. Kai definitely won't miss out. Good boy. He gets bananas and things, and gets all the supplements and the bread balls that everybody else gets. He obviously just doesn't get a contraceptive pill because he's a male.
The girls' lives have been transformed by Kai's antics, and the nursery's a much livelier place. Next time on Monkey Life. Concerns for the team when Capuchin Gorillan goes under the knife.
You can be all right on all this heat.
And the team are called to rescue another victim of the UK pet trade.
She's fed up overnight quite a lot. She's been just a little eating machine. I think she was quite hungry.